We are live.
Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you are out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.
Traffic, but I love you.
Ahora de Cuba la Bella, del Palacio de los Jugos.
Los chicharrones.
Los vecinos aquí se enteran de todo.
Mi vecina era CDR en Cuba.
Y en verdad no hay nothing that you can do. Chacleteras sin llames con corbata.
Aquí yo vendo hot dog, pero en Cuba yo era médico.
Le saco el dedo y digo Q.
Sweet home Hialeah. Solo 30 minutos de Le Fallo.
Oh,
Sweet home Hialeah. I hate your traffic, but I love you.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of East 10th Street Boys. Usually straight out of Hialeah, really not. Alex is on the road. I am in outside of Nashville in Franklin, Tennessee. Alex, where the hell are you right now?
We are crossing through the beautiful state of Pennsylvania, which I gotta admit I've fallen in love with. So yeah, we're everywhere but Hialeah. So we're everything but the East 10th Street Boys today.
Yeah, we're in spirit. We're in spirit.
Yeah. We're always going to be there. You can't take us out of Hialeah ever.
Can't take the Hialeah out of us.
No.
But, oh, my goodness. Special edition, because today is the start of the legal tampering period for NBA free agency. So we wanted to discuss that today, the Miami Heat. We've had some news yesterday with Miami. Of course, we know that Thomas Bryant and Caleb Martin officially off the books. They are opting out of their contracts for the Miami Heat. Kevin Love also opted out, but the difference between Kevin Love, Thomas Bryant, and Caleb Martin is Kevin Love is hopeful for a return with Miami. They're both hopeful to get a deal done to bring him back. And, of course, Josh Richardson did pick up his option, so he is for sure coming back. So just on that alone, before we roll into, obviously, NBA news, what's going around the league, and who could be leaving and going from there, Thomas Bryant, Caleb Martin, Kevin Love, Josh Richardson. Richardson's coming back. That's good. That's big. Kevin Love opts out, but could return, which I think would be great news. But Caleb Martin, we obviously knew he's going to leave. He's going to get his bag. He's going to get his money. How are you feeling about all of that?
Honestly, what surprised me was I was preparing for Thomas Bryant to opt in. Just money monetarily, it made sense. But I guess the writing's on the wall, and he's possibly going to get that money somewhere else. His agent has put fillers out there, so he's definitely going to get some more playing time somewhere else, and possibly that same amount of money or a 2-year deal with a team option, so a little bit more kind of semi-guaranteed. So that's the part that really surprised me. And the Kevin Love, I expected Kevin Love to opt in, but then when the details came out of why he opted out, it makes sense. Because if he's going to come back, he's going to come back at a more team-friendly deal with probably like a 2 or 3 year deal with a third year being an opt-out or a player or a team option where he gets a little bit more guaranteed money, but the annual average lowers and it reduces Miami's cap situation. The Caleb Martin was a foregone conclusion. We would have all been stunned if he would have opted back in, because in this market, he's going to be able to get.
All right, so there he goes.
Am I back? Oh yeah. Every time we go into one of these little semi-low tunnels, we're good.
You're supposed to warn us, Alex.
Yeah, my bad. No, this one I didn't see coming. It was just a bridge.
This one I did not see coming. It was in my face. I just did not see. It was too quick. Too
What's
small.
happening? But the Caleb Martin situation, and you feel very comfortable because you already talked about the not only the draft picks, the undrafted free. I think will fit right into Caleb Martin's position, his role on the team, and the fact that Hayward Highsmith, they're going to negotiate with him, and his agent has already said if the money is close, his preference is to stay in Miami. So I know we have a contingency plan either day, and Jalen was a conclusion as well. Does not necessarily mean he will be on the team. He could be traded, but it's not unlikely unless it's for basically an aggregated deal where they have to, put 3 or 4 contracts together to acquire another player. So everything kind of went as expected, and now you kind of have a clearer picture of what Miami's looking at heading into free agency.
So, it's the same as this doesn't just go on Heat Twitter. This goes for Dolphins Twitter. This goes for any sports team, but Heat specifically yesterday, I don't know how much time on Twitter you were on. I'll say I was keeping you posted. I was keeping you posted on some of the news that was going down and that I would see. But a lot of times I see a lot of Heat fans very, how do you call it? They're not patient. They want to move now. Yeah, they're saying, the front office is sleeping. Pat Riley is sleeping. Look at all these teams. They're making these moves. And I'm really trying to look and see what team is making a move. Why isn't that the front office doing anything? Why aren't they in on any of these? Why are we losing Caleb Martin for nothing? We should have moved him. We should have traded him before that deal was done, before he decided to leave for nothing. Let me ask you this. Is the front office sleeping? Should they be doing more, in your opinion?
Well, I've always been of the belief that non-action does not mean that they're not working. People think that just because you're not acting on something right away, that doesn't mean you're preparing for something. And people think that you got to be the first one to make a move. That does not necessarily mean anything. Remember, Miami is in a tight window in regards to their salary situation. They're not like Philadelphia where they have an open max slot. They're not like Orlando that can take free agency meetings. They have to be calculated with what they're doing. They need a player to declare, kind of like the Dame Lillard situation of last year. They need a player to declare, look, I want to go to Miami and nowhere else. And then there's a negotiation window. We're already above the first apron, so we can still take back more money than we do. And we're within the restrictions of we're not a second apron team where we can still aggregate salaries to be able to trade for another player. So Miami is doing due diligence, and they're going through the same scenario as kind of like last year, but they're not going to wait it out in regards to they got to get clearance from Mitchell. Mitchell still has not signed an extension, and everything will become more clear now with this tampering period opening up today. We're going to get a better picture I believe there will be a move made before next Friday, which next Friday being July 5th. 5th or 6th, when you can actually sign free agent contracts. I do believe there is going to be a plan in place where we're not just shaking up the team to shake it up. And I hate when people do these things where we just got to make a move. Yeah, we understand there needs to be a difference. But what I saw in the draft is Miami knows what they're missing. And they kind of addressed that with the situation. They drafted an athletic big that is multidimensional, that is multi-talented, very flexible, very agile. And he can play many roles. And he's still only 20 years old. They drafted a wing player that is a primary defender, a lethal shooter.
He got scared.
And there's many things that can be an alternate for what you have now. And it kind of fits the mold of Jaime Jaquez, which is what I love. So you're building a core around athletic, multi-dimensional pieces, 3-and-D, athletic wings, strong wings. You also addressed with one undrafted free agents in Pullen and Johnson from Arizona, you address pieces that, once again, we talked about. They're not going for the small guard. He's a 6'4" guard, a floor general,
Ready to play
defensive-minded,
now.
ready to play now. You got Johnson, another ready to play now. He looks to me like his body type is like Larry Johnson, where he's 6'7", 6'6", 6'7". He has the athleticism of Caleb Martin, but he's much stronger than Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
He has like Draymond Green's build, but even more athletic than Draymond Green. So by those pieces being made, even with the team not making a move necessarily, and the hypothetical that they don't make a move, organically, they still have different components around their core. And obviously, you take now Jimmy's situation. This is basically a 1 year deal for Jimmy. What are you going to get from Jimmy? Bam's evolution within this offense, Jovic's growth, Jaime's growth. There's a big process here that you're going to try to make a move with a Mitchell, and then you're going to go down the line with Lauri Markkinen. There's going to be conversations. But even if a move is not made, I always circle back to championship teams don't just come together like the 08 Celtics. Look how long the core of the Celtics were together before they won. Look how long the core of the Nuggets was together before they won. So we're talking about just Jimmy Swindle, thinking about Jimmy Swindle, but this is a much bigger picture. And I believe the moves that they make will dictate how they view this window and what they're going to do this year.
Yeah, and that's my thing. So, when they're saying, you just listen to the front office, we just came off the draft. Out of the draft, 4 players. 4 players who can contribute right now. Obviously,
correct.
Khalil Ware might not be ready to start right now, but he's a rotational piece. Kyle Larson can get you solid minutes. All of these guys get you solid minutes off the bench. Zion Pullins, one of maybe my favorite player. So and it hasn't even started, but just watching him alone is Keshad Johnson. I just can't wait to see what he can do. This dude he can not only shoot and play defense, but he could get to the basket. He is strong, and Zion Pullins, again, 6'4", 200 pounds, he's pure muscle, and he's ready to play right now. He's a veteran type of guard. He's a rookie, going to be like a veteran coming in. This is what most fans don't get. Look, especially Heat fans, from yesterday, from what I've saw, it seems very spoiled. A lot of these guys seem spoiled. What are the Heat doing? They're not doing anything. What do you want them to do? How do you want to? Do you want them just to make a trade for the sake of making a trade? Do you want them to try to throw everything to the wall? Are you going to feel better if the Heat go and say, okay, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Jaime, and Jovic, let's go get Donovan Mitchell. Oh, there you go. You got Donovan Mitchell. How are you feeling right now? Look at your roster. Oh, well, damn. Slow down. Let the process play out. We don't know how this is going to go. Now Kevin Love opted out. Like you said, we're under the second apron. Other moves could be made. We don't know. Tyler might be moved for a cheaper deal. Now you got more money. Now you can get an additional free agent. A lot of people talking about Paul George. Paul George obviously is opted out. He's going to get out of L.A. They're saying we got the Orlando Magic, Philadelphia 76ers. They got that max deal. Obviously, supposedly they wanted Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's not available. So they could get a Paul George. I kind of hope either, because if it's going to be in the East, I would like to see Orlando get Paul George. Because Orlando, I would like to see them take that next step. I think that's obviously cool, especially since they're a Florida team, especially. But we got to be realistic with Miami. The assets we have, Miami doesn't have the money really to go after anything unless they obviously go on a cheaper deal. What they do have is they have assets, but you got to let the process play out. Let Miami continue. Let them sign who they're going to bring back in, and then we all know, Heat fans, we all know. Tyler Hero and especially Tyler Hero is that piece. If they're going to make a move, he's the piece. So, and unless there's a guy that, like Alex says, is that, hey, I want to be in Miami. We know, Damian Lillard did that last year, did not work out. We could be waiting on someone like that, or Miami can say, you know what, we're not going to wait. We're going to make a move. We may have to it's time we end that. We got to do better for Jimmy because he's leaving after this year, maybe. And Bam just signed a big deal. We didn't trade these draft picks. We used these draft picks. So they're going to be here next season. We've talked about what they're going to do next year and everything else. So we know these. And in the two-way deals between Johnson and Pullins, they're here next year. These guys are going to be contributors, whether they're in the G League or whatever, they're going to be a part of this team. So we're not using these picks. So that's why, like the Donovan Mitchell thing, we can still see what happens. But right now, to me, that door's kind of closed. I ain't worried about that anymore. Trae Young's a different story, maybe, but I'm not holding out hope or anything of that nature. The Heat front office could be going, okay, you know what? We're not going to wait on anybody to say they want to come. Let's go ahead and see what we can do. Let's go ahead and use Tyler, use whatever we can use. That's not going to hamper our team because Pat Riley has said that. You can't go throwing a buttload of picks and stuff or a buttload of players at a team for a superstar, and then you got nobody on your roster or on your bench. You can't do it. We saw what happened to the Phoenix Suns.
That's the thing. That's the thing. And you're going to do your due diligence. Like I mentioned, you are going to wait for the Donovan Mitchell situation to clear up because you want to know for sure. If he signs his extension, then that's it. You move on to another possibility. You're going to have all these conversations. What they're not going to do at any cost is just sell Tyler as like even like as a salary dump, or I'm going to trade him for a cheap. No, they're going to value, even if he's not a top trade asset, they're going to show and value him publicly as a top trade asset because realistically, he's someone that can net you a package. To me, the people that are available in a perfect world, realistically, it might be one of our rookies from last year, either Jaime or Jovic. That's extreme scenario. But I do believe the players that are readily available, if they come calling, it's Tyler, Duncan, and Terry. Any combination of those, depending on who the player is. I believe any move that we do make, unless it's like a sign and trade that we can send out, like we might work with Caleb Martin on a sign and trade deal. You get me? Like that could happen if depending on who we want to acquire. Or if we just want to get some draft capital or whatever team we want to assist, just like we assisted Max Strus last year with a sign and trade to Cleveland. We facilitated that to them, and it creates a trade exception for us. But there's situations where I see that they're going to play it out. They're in a good position, and I believe just with the draft alone, like you mentioned, some players could be moved until they sign their rookie deal. Once they sign their rookie deals, then they can be traded for 30 plus days. So that's another thing to watch when the rookies sign their contracts once free agency opens, because if they don't sign right away, they're eligible to be moved in that time frame. So we just gotta wait it out and see, because players declare what they want. Oh, the Hawks with the Trae Young situation they brought up, I'm intrigued by him as one of the secondary options because I do believe he has great court vision. I believe we can use him properly. I believe we do have the team in place to kind of protect his defensive weakness at times, but you got to see what they're willing to do, because another distressed asset like a Zach LaVine in Chicago, I generally don't want any part of Zach LaVine, but I know it's going to cost me barely nothing. But I don't want to move a hero just for Zach LaVine, because I feel that doesn't move the needle. That doesn't improve our team, to a championship contender annually just by doing that move. I'm just taking on more salary. So you have to make moves that make sense.
I'm not hating on. I wouldn't hate Zach LaVine. I'm with you though on that type of move. It's not even. I don't even think that might be a lateral move. I think that might be a little like a degrade because he was doing pretty damn good. I mean, I don't want to knock on him, but not straight up for Tyler.
His shooting has improved, but it's not honestly at Tyler's level in that regard. And I think
I would prefer if you were to tell me one of the two guys. What?
During this draft, if you notice, all players also have the ability to shoot from deep.
Yeah.
And Pele is a dead shooter. So that you can kind of see where they're going. Like, we need more shooting. We need more perimeter flexibility, 3-and-D. So that's what they were addressing. So it gives you the possibility to do other moves. Like, you can lose some other players.
It gives you the freedom to do other things. But let's say if between the Bulls players, the one guy, I have his picture up here, the one guy that I would be comfortable with, if you had to tell me one or the other, I would prefer DeMar DeRozan with the Heat over Zach LaVine. I think DeMar DeRozan would have a bigger impact for this Heat team, especially in a playoff run. And he's a free agent, of course, then, they're going to make the money work. Exactly. Is there a guy, obviously Barry Jackson, one of the best out there, he has stated, of course, fans get mad at him for just stating his truth and basically the obvious, and he was saying, we got to wait for a player to either proclaim he wants to go to Miami in regards of a trade, And or, obviously the cap situation. The Heat can't just go around doing random stuff just to do it. The Heat do feel comfortable with the roster they have. They do, and really that's a ploy to everyone else. Hey, we're not going to move, even though maybe the Heat do want to say, okay, we got to get better. And obviously Pat Riley kind of stated that as such. They're not going to say outright, oh, we're just going to trade just to trade. No, you know what? Honestly, we're not going to do it. We're not going to get weaker just to trade a guy away. No, you know what? I actually like our guys. I think we've gotten stronger. That's what, any guy would say that. I feel comfortable that I could go into this season with this roster and go to a playoff game, win and run deep. There was somebody who wrote, I wish I saved some tweets yesterday because there was some stupid ass, dumbass. I mean, God Almighty! Somebody saying,
someone came at me the other day on Twitter. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're not Spo or Riley. Martin is coming back," and I didn't even respond to it because I didn't see it until later. But I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm not Spo or I'm not Riley, but I know Martin is not coming back. The money's not going to be
common
there.
sense, bro.
It's common sense, man.
bro.
I'm not trying to be a homer or anything. I'm just telling you what's going to happen."
Somebody said, I saw somebody on Twitter, right? I should probably look that up. I might be able to pull that up, but somebody on Twitter wrote that the Heat have been mediocre at best during the Jimmy Butler era.
Honestly,
I'm like, where does that come from? Like, what team have you been watching? You could say they maybe have outperformed what they may have on the roster. Looking at the roster, I go, damn, they made a finals run. They made 2 finals runs with Jimmy and this team during injuries, when they were less talented. You could say that, but been mediocre. That's what I could tell. You are a
casual fan.
Not even casual. Just freaking what's it called when you're a spoiled fan? What do you expect? What do you expect? What do you expect? What do you think the Heat should do? Tell me.
Give me more.
This is not more. NBA 2K, bro. This is not NBA 2K. All right. Let's be real.
People forget.
They think that the Heat could just jump in. Like the Heat have been mediocre. We've been to 2 finals. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you saying? Like, how much of are you doing too much of this? Like, what are you doing?
Like there's
dude,
there's positions that you need to improve. There's things and every team recognizes that. And what I find fascinating, Bobby, and you're going to see it, is going to continue to play off in this offseason. A lot of teams across the NBA, like we've talked about countlessly, they're resetting a lot of situations because they see the ramifications that going into the second apron comes with. Like even in the first apron, Miami, if we acquire a player in the via sign and trade, and we are above the first apron, that's going to hard cap us at that cap right there. There's a lot of ramifications of going above the first apron, and then there's dreadful ramifications with going over the second apron. With the second apron, basically, all you have is the availability of minimal contracts. So you need to know what you're doing. Kind of like what Phoenix did, and it backfired. New York is doing the second apron thing in a smart way because they have an identity and they have youth on their side too. And they have the flexibility that Brunson is in a very affordable contract still. So they can push the needle and they can move those contracts if push comes to shove. The Clippers are facing the situation with Paul George now. Paul George opted out. The Clippers supposedly had a deal with the Warriors but they couldn't come to an agreement. Now the fact that George opted out makes it nearly impossible for a sign and trade. That's why if you notice, he's only taking meetings with teams that could either sign him, the Clippers, or teams that have cap space to sign him from outside of his home team, which is the Magic and the Sixers, because no other team is going to do a sign and trade for Paul George because of the ramifications that it puts on them and where it hard caps them. So basically, the only opportunity they had was a sign and trade. So that's out the window. And now you see the real possibility where, for example, Klay Thompson, the Warriors are going to work with Klay Thompson, whether he's moved maybe to the Nuggets for Michael Porter Jr. somehow, whether he's moved to the Lakers for D'Angelo Russell, a package around there, they'll work with him. But Paul George's situation is pretty clear. It's 3 teams or none, unless something crazy happens and someone approves a sign and trade deal and they're hard capped in that situation, which I don't see that happening. But it could. You never know.
A desperate team for sure could. There's some NBA breaking news in regards of coaching. The ESPN Adrian Wojnarowski reporting the Detroit Pistons are hiring JB Bickerstaff as their new head coach.
Oh,
so
great hire, man.
He comes to Detroit after consecutive trips to the playoffs with Cleveland, including the Eastern Conference semifinals. So solid move by the Detroit Pistons.
Exactly. Great hire. And once again, shows you that it's not all coaching. Like, he took the heat for the Cavs. That was not his fault. That was not his fault at all. They were injured as they went into the playoffs. So
those not your fault.
Yeah.
Shut up. It's not your fault. Shut up, man. What's that movie? Robin Williams. And of course, the Florida Panthers parade is going on right now.
Yes, congrats to our Panthers.
Yes, and it's raining there, but people are there. They're at the beach. Well, they're in their bathing suits.
Of course, man. Bro, the Panthers haven't left the beach like in a week.
This is here we go. 5 years ago today, to the Heat being mediocre. First of all, let me just I thank you, Sean of 5 Reasons Sports, on top of his game as usual. But Real GM tweets out Jimmy Butler. This is 5 years ago. Oh, this was a tweet from 5 years ago that Sean retweeted. But Jimmy
Rochester?
Butler agrees to a 4-year, $142 million deal with Heat and a sign and trade from Philadelphia.
Yep.
And then Sean puts on here, 5 years ago today, the Heat acquired Jimmy Butler, 3 Eastern Conference Final, 2 Finals, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 1-time Eastern Conference MVP, 1-time All-Defense. Yeah, the Heat have been mediocre.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, no one's listening to you, bro. Like, you can't. You could say the Heat could have been better. There's other moves they could have done. One of the Heat things that always drives me nuts is we're waiting to see about the Damian Lillard situation. We're waiting to see what's going to happen with KD. We're waiting to see now what happens with Donovan Mitchell. That's at least what's been put out there by the media. It's like, no, don't do that. You got, let this process play out. Get to once free agency opens, but actively try to move. Don't handicap yourself and not make a move for another player that, Donovan Mitchell, I don't know if that really does move the needle. Trae Young, point guard, okay. I think these 4 moves alone, I'm excited about these 4 moves. The rookies that we got bringing in. But there's other moves that you could do. I mean, a Donovan Mitchell move to me, if you weren't giving up, I don't know what you would have to give up, because obviously you're not going to give up the draft picks. Of course, as you said, if the rookies don't sign, they could be moved, the 1 or 2 rookies.
Correct.
But they especially with Rare, they've they've brought out the red carpet.
They're not going to trade Ware.
They're not going to trade him anytime soon. But Jovic and Jaime, maybe they're moved. I wouldn't want that. But it's like, if you move, let's say you move Jaime or Jovic or both, and Tyler or Tyler Duncan in one of those 2.
Correct.
And you bring in Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
Do you truly believe that made your team better in the East?
With the moves that we made, yes. Because now I address, for example, in a hypothetical, okay. I'm moving Duncan, right? I know I still got Cole Swider. To me, Cole Swider, he's one of the best shooters, but he's not physical enough to be a rotational NBA player, in my opinion. I could be wrong. We did draft Pelé. I wouldn't move Pelé because Pelé, to me, can slide right into the
Pelé or Pel?
Pel, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know, man.
Okay, so you're doing the Cuban name, and I'm going to white. So I say Pel, you say Pelé. Okay.
Pelé, yeah, I'm gonna go Pelé. Let's say we move Jaime. We got Pelé coming right in to his spot. We moved Duncan. We still got Pelé there as a shooter. We got Terry Rozier that can shoot. We got Mitchell that can shoot. So the drop off is not immense if you would not have acquired Pelé, if you would not have acquired Johnson, there's a situation there where, damn, I just lost Martin. I'm moving Hero. I'm moving Robinson, which honestly, the scoring from Hero, I can replicate with Mitchell. I can actually improve on it with Mitchell. I still have Terry Rozier, which is a bucket getter. So that drop off is not immense to me. And if I move Tyler, the assets that I have to move are less. And due to the fact that if Mitchell, this is why it's so important. Damian Lillard's situation, we waited for last year because he was going to stay Miami and Miami only. And he had 4 years on his deal. So that's worth something, which they can hold on to. Mitchell only has 1 year left on his deal. If he comes out and says, "Look, I'm only going to sign an extension in Miami," you're reducing the the potency of the Cavs having the leverage that they have, because now they're stuck to, okay, I gotta trade him before I lose him for nothing, which is a semi situation that the Jazz are going to face with Laurie Markkinen. To me, the two people that I'm going for is either Mitchell or Laurie Markkinen, because I can play Laurie next to Bam and next to Ware, next to Jovic. We can play him. He's functional enough. He's athletic enough. Now, do I have a backdrop in regards to like a Brandon Ingram, Trae Young? I could entertain that, absolutely, because I can make it work as well. And for example, Brandon Ingram assets is just money matching, and that's it, because you're going to lose him. He's not going to sign an extension. But now, do you rethink that? And even for himself, it's like, oh man, we just acquired Murray. Like, this is going to be a solid team. We got CJ McCollum, we got Murray, we got Zion Williamson. It's going to be a great team. But what does that team need? Shooting. So what do we have? Robinson, Hero. Like, you can make that work.
Yeah.
And one team can, like, people forget, and this is what genuinely bothers me. And we've talked about this, and you've always mentioned it with the Dolphins. In order to get someone good and great, you have to give up someone that's good or great. People are here and are not just trading. It has to make sense for.
Oh, did he go under a bridge? And he did not tell us. Did he go under a bridge? He failed. That's okay. We'll wait for him to come back. As in, we're bringing up Brandon Ingram. Oh, there he is. He fell. Would you go under a bridge? You didn't say nothing again?
Oh man, another bridge, yeah.
Dude,
man,
you're supposed to warn us, man.
I was so into it. I'm like, and then I lost me. No, but what I'm saying, like, it takes in order to make a deal in good faith, to acquire talent, you have to give up talent. And you're dealing with professionals. Aside from last year, how we were dealing with Cronin. So for example, Miami's not going to make a deal with Portland. Parrot's not picking up his fucking phone call after you ignored me all summer. So those are situations, and it's relationships, and it's true. Do I feel that we can make?
I'm sorry. Kiel Larson already signed it with Kiel Ware. Did he already sign his deal?
No one can sign their deal until the new league year, I believe. Okay. Yeah. Okay. They can't sign officially until the 6th, which to me is insane, because there even second round picks and all that. Now there's exceptions, so we can sign with a new CBA. We can sign Pelé to a 4-year deal with the new rules under the new CBA. Before second round contracts were like 2 or 3 years, I believe, and now we can have the 4th year with like the team option, kind of like the same way it is for first round picks with a 5th year team option. So that gives you teams. I'm telling you, this new CBA gives a lot of teams more flexibility and more parity around the league, because now everybody is not at a disadvantage. Now there are teams that are going to sign and go into the second apron, like the Suns, like the Knicks, and their tax bill is going to be $300 million. If the owner wants to pay that, that's on them. But it's going to handicap you in how you can acquire players, how you can replenish your team in case of an injury. Like, you can't sign buyout players. There's a lot of things that come with that territory. So, I'm fully confident in what we're doing, man. I really am. Like we always are.
Yeah. So Brandon Ingram currently is about $36 million.
Correct.
On a deal now.
Yes.
Let's see, Tyler. I'm just playing around here, and we throw in Duncan, which again,
you can move.
You don't even have to.
You can move Tyler and Duncan. No, you don't have to do that for Brandon Ingram. You don't have to do that.
No, but
you could put Tyler and someone else, like a Josh Richardson, to make it work closer. Because that gets you to like 32 million, I believe, and Brandon Ingram's at 36. Yeah, you might have to. I mean, if you move Robinson, if it's like a 3-team deal, you can move Robinson, and give yourself the leeway. And even if you move Richardson to another team as well, you can get creative.
No, yeah, you can get creative. Let's see. Either way, it's not out of the realm. You're in that ballpark. You can make it work.
Yeah,
you can definitely make it work to get that deal done.
Correct.
And that's something that people don't realize. We're all looking at the bigger guys. We're looking at the Paul Georges and the Klay Thompsons. And again, those are all veteran. James Harden's a free agent. They got their pictures up on there. Those are the top free agents. There's still a lot more. I mean, again, one of the players here I have him in front of me, and it's Tobias Harris. That's an under the radar type of move. That could make sense for Miami. What do you think Tobias Harris could bring to the Heat? Do you think that should be a target?
I don't think he's gonna be a target, not only because of Jimmy Butler, but I think his skill set. What we could have used Tobias Harris like last year, the year before. But I think we've already addressed a lot of situations where if we acquire Tobias Harris now, it could be a depth piece. I'm not gonna lie to you. It could be a depth piece, but I'd rather have Jaime in that situation. I'd rather have Pelé in that situation. I'd rather have a hybrid Bam in that situation, a little bit more Jovic. Because what I see with this team is we can play a lineup where you want to push the basketball.
Starting to freeze up again. He probably didn't pay attention to the bridge. Got that R2D2 sound going in, boy.
Gone again.
We'll wait for
I'm
him.
back.
We'll wait for him
again.
to.
I'm back.
He's in and
Good.
out, in and
good.
out. Another player. That could. That's this is actually saying Miami Heat could target. Is for Saddiq Bey from Atlanta.
Yes.
Younger guy.
Yes.
Solid player off the bench. I think he averaged like 13 points a game last year. What do you think about someone like that?
Oh, I'm all for that. I give him the full mid-level exception if he wants it. He fits our team perfect off the bench. And I think that will look at it, for example, if you lose a Highsmith, you look at a Saddiq Bey like that. Even if not, I would love Saddiq Bey for depth. I would love Wiseman because we can develop him, but that means that you release Orlando Robinson. So to me, Orlando Robinson stands on the team if we don't get another backup big or another depth piece, because we're going to get Love. We have Bam. We have Khalil Ware. And then we got Orlando Robinson. So you got size now. You got versatile size and athletic size. So there are situations that even with this roster the way it is now, man, we can play fast. We can push the pace. We can play to Bam's strength. We can play to Jovic's strengths, to Jaime. Like, we have players that when you sub Jimmy out, this team likes to run. So you're going to push pace. You are going to be out on the open floor. You're going to be running your wings. You're going to be running your angles. And you have a constant motion where they feed off each other. So the transition game is going to excel with those players. And don't get me wrong, Jimmy's good in transition too. But what you see with a Johnson, he's great finishing in transition. He's very aware. He's beyond athletic. He's sneaky athletic to the point that, damn, I didn't know he can actually bounce that high. I didn't know he can finish. I didn't know he had that handle around the rim. So there's a lot of situations that you can see this team, even with certain moves, and you can definitely have a different style of offense and still have your same identity defensively. So it's a lot of flexibility. And even with the core pieces, like you say, you want to add pieces to your core that can enhance your core, that can complement your core and bring out the best across the board. And you just don't sign someone to sign someone. Now, you do see the possibility, like in a Saddiq Bey, where there's growth there, man. That kid is talented. I was surprised when he got traded because he was moved around last year.
Yeah,
it was like I was surprised Golden State didn't stay with him. But they traded him in order to acquire Gary Payton II. And I thought he would have been great in Golden State. And I would love to get my hands on Saddiq Bey.
Let me take a look on who.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So available free agents, realistic available free agents, because what's up, Cap for Life in the house? Great to see you, brother. Right now, everyone who's tuning in, you're watching East 10th Street Boys straight out of Hialeah, quote unquote. Alex on the road, heading to Michigan. I am, of course, out broadcasting out of Franklin, Tennessee. But Miami Heat free agency preview, NBA offseason preview. But here are the main free agents, and let's say, obviously realistic guys, okay? Because there's some guys we know could be, they're big names like a LeBron James. His son just got drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers.
He's not going.
He opted out, but he's not going anywhere. The report is that he may accept a lesser deal than he should get paid for a possibility at James Harden or Jonas Valanciunas, which is hilarious.
Correct.
Or a Klay Thompson. If they don't get that, then he's going to get the max. Yeah. Valanciunas, that's Charles Barkley.
No.
So LeBron
right.
James.
You said it right.
Yeah. LeBron James, this is 39 and a half years old. You know, he's going to go back. He's going to go play with his son. Okay, here we go.
Tunnel, yeah. You might lose me.
Oh, a tunnel. Oh, damn. All right.
Yeah, tunnel.
So,
You're going to get dark on the road. Sides. Watch.
Yes. So we're going to wait. So he may fall out. So I'll continue reading out names here. But LeBron James. Oh, did it get dark? Are you already in there?
I'm still on, yeah.
You're still there. Yeah,
Perfect.
You're still on for right now. Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Jamila's plan did not work. Jamila's plan did not work, bro.
Why is she
tried?
Why is my wife stopping in the tunnel?
Yeah, why is she going? She's slowing down, bro.
Yeah.
So that's like, oh no, you can't do the show. Oh no,
I can see you clearly.
Yeah. Let's talk. It's like Tati. Let's talk about our feelings. I don't want to do that. No, the
let's talk about our feelings.
NDAs.
Tell me what you feel. Yeah. How about I show you how I feel?
Yeah, that's right. I'll show you the NDA. But like LeBron James, Paul George. I think would have been awesome. Obviously, that's a great pipe dream to have.
Yes.
You know, but as you have brought up, he's opted out, so it makes it almost impossible for any type of move to be done. He's got to do that sign and trade type of deal. You could have made a move probably if with a Tyler Hero and a Duncan and probably picked them up to pair up. But so more than likely, you got Philly. I don't know, was it Philly, Orlando? There was another team I can't remember.
Just the Clippers.
The other team, but
it was just the Clippers, and there was negotiations with the Warriors.
Yeah, I'm saying the possible teams that could bring him in now. The Magic, Philly, and who else?
Magic. There's no other team with cap space to bring him in.
Yeah, obviously,
that I'm aware of.
Philly makes sense because of the possible run they could make. Obviously, you got Joel Embiid there. My thing is, if I was talking to Paul George, I'd say, dude, but how much can you depend on obviously you got Terrell Maxey. He's a restricted free agent. He's going to come back, but. Yeah, you got that guy. You got Maxey there. You have Embiid. Embiid struggles to stay healthy. You see that usually kills him during playoff time. He can be an MVP during the season, but when it comes to playoff time, he's usually out. So, but if you go to a team like Orlando, you could be the difference. Orlando is a young, up-and-coming team. They Paolo Banchero, I'm sure I'm butchering his name, but either way, he's an up-and-coming star in the league. They were making a run last year. You could be the one who puts them over that hump. You could be their version of a Jimmy Butler. The truth be told. So if I was advising Paul George, I would say, hey man, people always look at you as the guy who never did it, just like they do James Harden. You're great, but you never run a ring. Chris Paul, just like that. Don't go to where there's a legitimate superstar there. Yeah, but look at his playoff record. Look how much he's been healthy. You could be the difference in Orlando. You could be that veteran. You could finally get your goal down there more than likely. You have a better chance doing it there than you do in Philly. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So I would think, even though it's between the 76ers and the Magic, I would be telling him go to the Magic. That's what I'd be saying. Klay Thompson. That's going to be very interesting. Which is kind of it's so true. I saw a question proposed on social media about Klay Thompson in the Warriors situation. Is this like Dwayne Wade, where you let D Wade walk and go to Chicago, when you shouldn't have? Are you closing the window too soon on a Steph Curry? Because you're kind of taking not only his partner in a Hall of Fame career, two guys with two Hall of Fame careers, but you're taking a strong piece on your team. When healthy, Klay Thompson's still one of the better players in the NBA. So on the Warriors side, are they making a mistake letting him walk? And then on the Klay Thompson side, what team makes sense? I think the Mavericks are there. I'm trying to think of another team that he might be on the way to. But what do you think of the Klay Thompson situation?
Well, the Clay Thompson situation, there has been a drop off in his game. He's still one of the best shooters in the league, and he needs to be in the right system for that to be successful. So you're looking at, like you mentioned, the Mavericks is a situation that feeding off Kyrie and Doncic could be perfect because he could take on the Tim Hardaway role, the Tim Hardaway Jr. role. I do see him in a situation where his best case scenario, it's either the Lakers or the Nuggets to me, because I think they're willing trade partners. They have multiple pieces to make the deal work. Ideally, ideally, the best situation could have been the Clippers if somehow, some way he wanted to go too, because you could have included him as part of the deal for Paul George with Chris Paul. Maybe you traded Chris Paul, Klay Thompson. You could have done a deal around that sort, and even the Warriors with the whole Paul George situation, they could have benefited as well. Because if it's not for Klay Thompson, you could have moved Chris Paul, Moody, Kaminga, other salaries, but the holdup there was Kaminga. So that whole now you just want to do right by him. You want him to be happy wherever he goes, and you want to be able to assist him in a sign and trade situation where you can acquire something back. I like to think of it as when KD was going to leave, and he left for the Nets. They still did the sign and trade between Golden State and Brooklyn, and they acquired D'Angelo Russell. So that could be a situation where they reacquire D'Angelo Russell or move him again down the line, or do because you can't do a sign and trade with three teams. So they could move him around the line to another team before the trade deadline. But I don't know. Endings are never really good in the NBA when it comes to contract situations. Kind of like how we saw it with Dwayne, like you just mentioned. There's never a good way to end a situation with an aging superstar unless he retires. So, I mean, basketball wise, it makes sense to move on from Klay Thompson. I mean, I can make an argument that basketball wise, it makes sense to move on from Draymond Green. So they're basically picking Draymond Green over Klay Thompson in that regards because they feel that Draymond Green's game will age better than Klay, and Draymond Green is still an integral part of that offense, and Curry is still playing at an elite level. So you, by nature, you got to move on from Thompson because if not, you're going to handicap your team, and then team that is not going to be successful in the West. The West is built differently already. If Golden State keeps the team the way they are right now, even with Klay Thompson, they're not a top 5, 6 team in the West. It's just going to run by them. So they got to stay. They got to modernize. They got to be up to date with today's NBA, and that's what they're trying to do.
So moving on to James, we talked about Tobias Harris. We'll see what happens there. James Harden.
Yeah.
Then the Clippers. They were the team that you said last year that they could be the best team in the West if healthy. They did have a strong season last year, but now you possibly lose Paul George. You are going to lose Paul George, and you could lose James Harden, who could just actually stay in LA, go to the Lakers possibly if LeBron's thing works. What do you think of the James Harden situation? If you're Miami, do you try to just say, hey, can I try to convince you to take a cheap deal? Is that something that you think the Miami could do, or do you think, hey, maybe LA Lakers makes a lot of sense and does it actually help them?
To me, for James Harden, I realistically think he's going to stay with the Clippers, and he'll sign an extension with the Clippers at less than the max, especially if they lose Paul George, because you can't lose Paul George and James Harden. And then Westbrook opted in, so you can move Westbrook as well, but you can't lose. If you lose Paul George and you're the Clippers, first of all, you haven't won anything with him because him and Kawhi have not been healthy at the same time until last year, really. You traded SGA and 5 first-round picks for Paul George, so you cannot afford to lose Paul George, especially when you had a deal possible with the Warriors that you butchered because you couldn't come to an agreement on compensation. So you have to either sign him. I don't know if they're going to give in and give, because the only thing that's preventing Paul George from signing with the Clippers right now is that the Clippers do not want to offer the 4th year. So you got to either keep James Harden on a cheaper deal unless someone convinces him to take the mid-level exception or the...
That's what I'm saying. And Blake, thank you for tuning in, man. We appreciate you watching. First time, at least, interacting on the show. We appreciate you watching. And I'm down on James Harden's ability to help any team win a championship, but I'd be happy to be wrong. I get that, and I understand that, and that's probably why I agree with Alex in regards of I'm not saying now in the Heat situation, MLE, the mid-level exception, whatever, you're saying, hey, look, man, try to come over here. You're not who you used to be. Let's get you on a good deal. That makes sense to me compared to if you're the Lakers and you say, hey, or the Clippers, and you're like, hey, we just can't lose you. We're going to throw $40 million at you. What did he make last year? He made 34. So 34.3. Again, it's like that takes up a lot of space for someone who's not what he was. So if you could get him, if it's some team like Miami could say, can we at least get a meeting? Can we sit down with you? Let me convince you why you should come here for a year, and then you could cash out next year. That I would be down. Not saying James Harden would do that, but I don't. That's why I say if I'm like Miami, I wouldn't be against something like that. Because I'm not going to be. I'm with Blake. I wouldn't pay him big money, but I would be happy to say, hey, MLE.
And I'll say to this about James Harden.
What's up, Georgette?
James Harden is a very very versatile player in regards to that he can do whatever you need him to do. Yes, he's older, so I believe the mind will change as he ages a little bit more. I think he's more valuable to the Clippers, even if Paul George leaves, because he could still score the basketball. But if Paul George remains and resigns, James Harden is your de facto point guard. Now, it just comes down to how much money are you going to pay.
Absolutely.
Is he going to take a
Absolutely.
deal? Is he going to take a deal like Kawhi? Kawhi didn't take near the max. Kawhi signed an extension, but not at the max. So if you can get them three on board to take less than the max, you can still surround them with solid pieces. And they can succeed. They can be successful because their games, Kawhi, Paul George, and James Harden, believe it or not, people might think it's a little quirky, but them three, they could complement each other very well. So I see it possibly working out in that regards, but it all comes down to if the Clippers are willing to offer Paul George a 4th-year deal. He can't sign a 5-year deal because of the over 38 rule. So when you're getting close up in age, if your contract is going to intertwine with you being 38, you can't sign a 5-year max deal. They cap you off at a 4-year. So right now, teams could offer him a 3-year deal. The Clippers could offer him a 4th year, but they're not willing to do so. So and they could offer him a no trade clause as well. So I don't know if they'll go to that extent. That's like the last part of negotiations. Yeah. But they seem to be very comfortable with the possibility of losing him.
So let's go over some other names. Let me throw out some realistic names. I'm not going to go after everybody, but just names that catch my eye and get your take on it for Miami. First off, there was a guy that Miami chased a few years ago. They did throughout the whole red carpet and everything. He ended up going elsewhere. Gordon Hayward.
Yes.
He is available.
Yes.
He's not going to get $30 million. I don't think from anybody. I think that would be a solid under the radar move Miami could make. That could help them if healthy. Are you in agreement with that? Gordon Hayward, somebody that you'd be cool with?
Yeah, even a veteran presence. Yeah, absolutely. If we move some people as well, and that spot opens up, now you have a shooter off the bench as well, a reliable, savvy veteran, and he can handle the basketball too. So yeah, I'm on board with Hayward. If the money's right, like minimum deal, or I believe he'll sign for a minimum or for an exception deal. No, at all. I wouldn't want to offer, just like we don't want to offer Jimmy. Jimmy's only eligible for a 2-year, but that's the reservations. The league, you can't. It's very difficult to pay a 39-year-old $60 million a year.
And that's crazy. Georgette, maybe the Sixers or the Magic.
It could happen.
My thing is health.
Actually, Thompson will be great in the Sixers, but I don't know if he ends up going there. But
I think Dallas would probably be the Dallas.
Dallas for sure. He wants to stay in the West Coast.
Yeah. The another name, a name that obviously we got, Buddy Hield is on there.
I would love Buddy Hield for the right price too. Yes.
I remember. Yep. Yeah. When got a name, we're talking about point guards, a point guard who's still very young, but I think would be great at the right price for Miami, especially Miami system, would be Markelle Fultz. That's another name that I think would be great.
Miami's still going to do DeLon Wright. They still want to.
They still got DeLon Wright. Yep.
Correct. And you got Josh Richardson coming back. You got possibility of Terry Rozier coming off the bench. They're still going to start the year with Terry and Tyler if no move is made. But there's possibilities there. They got great depth in certain parts. So
let me pull this here. James Wiseman. Detroit Pistons. I know, talk to me about him.
Yes. Yeah. To me, just that size and versatility, if we could get him into our system and we can develop him a little bit more, he might go somewhere else for playing time. For example, don't be surprised if it's like a Lakers situation or a Clipper situation where they need size. So he might leave. He might go somewhere else. But if we can get our hands on Wiseman, I would definitely be all in, because you can use that size, rebounding alone, shot blocking, rim presence. And imagine you have two athletic, humongous pieces down low in Ware and Wiseman, and you can match it up with Jovic, which people even talk about. One of the things that I love about Ware is that people talking about, Ware and Bam, Ware and Bam. I'm like, I'm also excited for at times Ware and Jovic. Like there's a lot of situations that could come out and play in style of play that you can benefit from with them.
Two names. I know you just brought up James Wiseman, but two other guys there who, again, two bigs. Okay. The first one, obviously, he's kind of being the odd man out here. He's a young player. These are two young players, two bigs. This guy's 7 foot tall. I think 7'1". Isaiah Hartenstein from the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
And then Moritz Wagner from the Magic. 6'11". That's a guy. Wagner, Hartenstein, I'm not against. I'm down with that. He's a good. He should be staying with the Knicks, but what the moves are doing, he might not be able to go back there. I don't know what's happening. He could get a bigger deal elsewhere anyway.
Yeah,
but
he's out of our price range.
Wagner, I think, is very intriguing. Big for Miami to possibly target. What do you think of Wagner, Moritz Wagner from Orlando?
He can slide right into that mid-level exception. So I would not be against Wagner at all.
What's
and
up,
his skill set benefits us as well.
Look, in a perfect world, the Heat would keep Caleb Martin, Osmosis Jones. Thank you for watching. In a perfect world, they would, but the problem is he's outplayed his contract. He's worth a lot more than what the Heat are willing to give, and all power to him. That's what the Heat do with these guys. I mean, they make them look like stars, and what Caleb was able to do for Miami was great. And obviously the Heat are better with him right now. They just can't afford him.
Correct.
Yeah, Blake says, I would be shocked if Mo Wagner left. He's one of the heart and souls of the Magic. They declined his option, so maybe he does come back. Maybe they say, hey, maybe they got an under the radar deal. He may return on a more team tap friendly, but
or
probably best interest in on a bet. That way lower number than higher at the end. But again, unrestricted free agent. To me, if I'm Miami and he is still on there, he's one of the first people I'm calling and say, hey, you played a few years. You're still very young. Can we at least get a sit down with you? Let's talk.
Yeah.
And but yes,
and
Orlando.
That's the beauty of this free agency, because there's always that under the radar. We didn't think about that possibility until it became available. I always say the Kelly Olynyk signing with the Heat. That one came out of nowhere. No one expected Miami to sign Kelly Olynyk at all.
Yeah.
And it happened because it was the year Wade left, if I'm not mistaken, and then we were able to sign Kelly O. So those are situations where when something happens, there's a domino effect, and then there's teams become available that weren't available before, and then you start taking meetings because now they have a cap space, now they have a room, they have a roster spot. So that's what I love about free agency. The predominant ones get taken care of quickly, but then the little domino effects, the ripple effects start coming in, trickling in. And that's what changes your team.
So Seth Curry, a free agent, Kevin Love, I expect him to come back to Miami. Let's see, Eric Gordon, veteran free agent, Patrick Beverly, I'm not too interested. Jay Crowder,
no,
former Heat favorite.
I want to see what happened with Brook Lopez with the Bucks. Brook Lopez is going to be a wild card this
offseason. Yeah, dude.
He's going to be moved.
That would be going to be moved. I would love a Blake Lopez move. Is that on purpose? Is that on purpose to do it right next to the sound?
Oh, yeah. It's just sabotage.
Could you open that any louder?
Or
whatever the hell you do. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Someone like, what about like a JaVale McGee?
Oh,
What
man.
about JaVale?
He's already. I would entertain Andre Drummond because he is a functional big. But JaVale McGee right now is kind of like a DeAndre Jordan. He's just like an insurance piece. He's a depth piece. And I feel Kevin Love is that for us. I mean, Kevin Love can still play. So it's not a foregone conclusion that Kevin Love is coming back. He could get offered, like at the Lakers situation, the Suns situation, he can get offered legit playing time somewhere else. But I feel that he'd rather come back to Miami, being already here, working with the younger guys. This is a good spot. This is a good spot for him. So I hope we come into an agreement with him quickly.
Let's see here. And here you go. The regard of Mo Wagner and why he could have been, Isaiah Hardestein, I'm sure that's how I say. Obviously, odd man out. The Magic and the Thunder are potential suitors for him. So that would be why Mo Wagner may have been unmatched there.
Of course.
Which would make sense.
You want to create a possibility because you can still sign Mo Wagner if you're the Magic, but you want to create the possibility to at least be able to get in the room with someone like that.
Seth Curry to the Heat. We don't know. Let's Seth Curry. I would be against it. That gives you that premier shooting off the bench.
Yeah, a depth piece as well. A depth piece as well.
Depth.
I keep saying. I keep thinking I say death. So
the Hornets have cut him. They waived him. Let's see. Let's read what they're saying here. 10-year veteran Seth Curry.
Oh, Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson was traded from the Nuggets to Charlotte. So you're probably looking at a buyout candidate there. So you could even look at Reggie Jackson, point guard depth. That's another one that I think is going to be bought out in Charlotte. I don't see him playing in Charlotte. Or he's probably moved again before the season starts.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Reggie Jackson. The Nuggets traded him to the Hornets for a 2nd-round pick or something like that to create cap space.
Yeah, but it looks like for regard osmosis, Seth Curry was waived by the Charlotte Hornets. They hope after it opens up, the league opens up, they could renegotiate a contract possibly, but never say never. But anyway, Alex on the road. He is heading to Michigan with the family. College tour for the oldest. I'm here in hot ass Tennessee right now. But I'll say once there's the Nuggets gave up 3 picks to trade Reggie. Actually, wow, did they really? Goodness gracious, 3 picks.
Okay.
Yeah, get rid of him.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what this league is coming to. Money, and aprons, and you have to get under it if you want to be able to move things around. So it comes with the territory.
So Brandon Ingram, before we wrap this up, because we were talking about Donovan Mitchell and why that might be a little tough, or what could happen there if he doesn't. We got to see. We'll let that domino fall. But Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, but as not under the radar, but like secondary, third options. Brandon Ingram, is there another guy out there that you would say, hey, if this guy like a Brandon Ingram, this is a guy we should be paying attention to if no other deal is done with these other two?
Well, I still think comparisons in type of player, I still think Laurie is top up there. But aside from after that, like Laurie and all that, I really, before I go into Ingram, I'd probably look into Trae Young. But because the Ingram situation, it comes down to, are you willing to commit? The same thing that has happened with the Pelicans. Are you willing to commit so much money to Ingram? Is he going to change? Is he going to change the dynamic of the team? Is he going to improve you that much, or is Ingram just a piece that you need to acquire? I believe with the style of play that we have, with the players, with the team that we have, I think between Ingram and Trae Young, I think Miami goes Trae Young. But that's just when you sit down and you analyze the roster, I think they could work better with Trae Young, with a contract already in place and kind of a younger timeline as well, because he is younger than Ingram, I believe, by like 4 years. And that's kind of like the Bam timeline. But because with Ingram, it's just a money situation. But aside from that, other free agents that I would see that would become available, I don't really see anything else that for us might move, because everybody else is under contract. It would have to come down to someone wanting to be out, like revisiting the Dame Lillard situation again, something like that. And I don't see that happening with any other team. Phoenix is a situation to monitor with Durant and Booker, like you just mentioned, Osmosis, but that might be next year. Phoenix is going to give it another move, another year. They want to try it out another year. I still don't think they're going to be successful. I don't think they're going to win anything in the West. They might finish top 4, but the West just got too. And aside from that, I see Minnesota. They drafted Dillingham. I think they're going to be a great backcourt. Conley signed there, so Conley's going to be there. Let me see. Anywhere else? Golden State, the Chris Paul situation, but I highly doubt Chris Paul. We will be attracted to Chris Paul. Chris Paul probably ends up in LA either with the Lakers or the Clippers, some way, somehow, where he's traded and then bought out. But I don't really see, as of right now. Maybe after free agency starts and some pieces clear up, maybe we can take a look back and retrace. But I don't see anything else, popping up right now, because everything will have to be via trade.
Blake, Suns did not surprise me last season. I was never bullish on that team. I think me and Alex are with you, man. We everybody was overhyped. That's what happens when we got these 3 guys, and what was around you? Nobody. It is what it was. Devin Booker, Osmosis Jones, question mark. I don't know if unless Booker said I wanted to go to Miami, I can't see that as a possibility. We don't have the assets to do it, to go up straight to the Phoenix Suns and say it. Osmosis Jones, Randall might be traded from the Knicks. He may, and again,
yes,
I would not. I've been a fan of Julius Randle for a while. I think he would be great as a Miami Heat if that was an option. But we'll see. Again, it starts tonight. The legal tampering starts tonight. We're going to hear a lot of he intends to. He's leaning towards signing with this team. He intends.
He's enthusiastic about.
He's enthusiastic about a deal getting done. We'll know before. Now, if there's any breaking news like Miami trade or Miami signs or whatever, Alex and I will, of course, hop on 20 minutes, react, and break it down. But guys, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in, whether you're watching via YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. Osmosis Jones, Blake, Georgette, Cap.
Awesome
Kathleen.
name for people that know about Osmosis Jones. That's an awesome name.
Awesome name. Everyone. No, thank you all for tuning in and interacting. Hey, if you're new to the channel and you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. We got a lot of great content on here, not just basketball. Obviously, Alex and I talk more about just basketball. We talk about life and stuff, but today was dedicated to the NBA free agency starting really today. But next week we'll probably do something fresh. Obviously, talk basketball, but other stuff as well. But until then, Alex, any final thoughts?
No, man, just excited. I'm enjoying with the fam this semi cross country trip for touring, and it's a really cool experience to get to see this through their eyes as well and get to enjoy the moment. But I'm gonna enjoy NBA free agency as much as I can. I'll be driving, so I won't be following up. I should be available after the 6 p.m. Legal tampering rule, so I should be seeing some news. But I'll look forward to your updates as the day goes on, and then we'll talk more in week if anything happens.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.